everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Self-Improvement Project. The podcast this week is the most important one for me so far, and this week will describe one of the most life-changing experiences during my life. I'm sharing it to raise awareness about how short life can be, and also to show gratitude for having known such an amazing person. As much as this is a personal story, the message is for everyone, as you may have experienced it yourself or you will know someone who has. Please note before we get started that this is a sensitive and personal experience and is not intended as advice or guidance for anyone. It is informative and completely for your own awareness, so thanks. So, as you will have heard at the beginning, this episode is from a personal experience. It involves tragedy and love. But it is important in life to take time to recognise and appreciate what an amazing impact those we meet can have on us. So around this time last year, one of our very good friends, Tom, died suddenly whilst on his honeymoon due to heart failure at the age of 27. 27 years old. How unfair is that? Barely enough time to truly live once you think about going to school, then on to further studies such as university, and your job. But this is where, in this situation, we're wrong. And where the title of this episode comes from. Because Tom did truly live, despite only being 27. And that's why I'm doing this episode today. You should be more Tom. You can view this as a tribute or dedication to him, but I'd rather use it as a celebration of him, or a source of motivation to love more, to laugh more, and to live more. Now, it's apt to start with the famous quote, "Every man dies, but not every man truly lives," by the famous Scotsman William Wallace. And this is message number 1 today. It is to say yes to more of what you want to do. Tom's funeral was full of hilarious stories of Tom and about how he truly lived. He started various clubs, he made short films, and took chances on where he chose to live. And it provided a life that many would envy. I vividly remember the warmth of him and his amazing wife, Carolyn, when I first met them. And I hope to make others now feel the same way whenever I meet them for the first time. Say yes to that social occasion you don't want to go to. Say yes to the uncomfortable option. Say yes to the unorthodox. And say yes to the thing that lights you up inside. Because those moments pass you by and are also the best opportunities in life to grow. I did a handful of pub quizzes with Tom, and it would be an understatement to say he carried us. This man's knowledge of useful and useless information was astounding. But it leads to my next point and the second message of this episode. To be more curious and be more interesting. It is when we aren't curious anymore, is when we stagnate, we stop. Then we get anxious about being stagnant. Jim Rohn puts it nicely by stating, make decisions like an adult and be curious like a child. Tom clearly fed his curiosity regularly, which didn't only allow him to grow and learn every day, it also made him a damn interesting person. It gives you perspective on the world, teaches you empathy and compassion, allows you to educate others and be open to learning from others too. Once you get past all the small chat with people, it's always the interesting ones that stand out. And when you know all of this stuff and know that you're an interesting person, that only leads to one thing, and that is charisma. My last message today, and one touched on before, is to be more charismatic. Love who you are and your personality. In this technology-driven world, personality is one of the only things that we can hold on to and help us stand out. Now, anyone listening to this who knew Tom will smile when they think of his charisma. That warmth when I met him, the true head tilted back, full belly laugh when finding something funny, and the genuine intent and interest when listening to others are just some of those traits. And you don't have to be a certain personality type to be able to utilize this. Everyone has their own unique personality, but they just don't know how to be comfortable with it. You don't always have to speak and dominate conversations in order to be respected. I respected Tom because he was comfortable with himself and respected himself. So what is stopping you? If you are thinking it's life experience holding you back, I want you to go back to message 1 from the podcast today about saying yes to those things. And that's it. My 3 messages for being more Tom. Simple, but as you can tell from the impact on myself, it is inspiring. I am grateful for having known Tom and to still share the friendship with his wife Carolyn. Carolyn, this episode is for you, so thank you. I'd like to end on a quote I love regarding those who we love. A person only truly dies when everyone who loves them is gone. Thank you for listening, and go and be more Tom. Cheers. Hello, me again. Just a side note, purely based on this episode. My wife Anna and I recently ran a marathon in memory of Tom to raise funds for an excellent charity called Cry. They support cardiac risk in young people, and we're really, really happy with how much we've managed to raise so far for Tom. But as you can imagine, there's always that goal to continue to raise more money for it. So I'm going to add the link for our donations into the podcast notes below. And if you feel generous and touched by this and you want to help, please feel free to donate. Cheers!